is suing Fox Corporation, Fox Sports, Fox Sports 1 and 2, often known as FS1 and FS2, and Fox Sports Production. And as well, she is also suing Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor. First, we'll start with Charlie Dixon. Charlie Dixon is the executive vice president of content for Fox Sports 1. And by the way, that's apparently Fox's flagship multi-sport national network. And he is responsible for overseeing the content and production for the network and has the authority to make decisions about employees. Skip Bayless is a renowned, albeit controversial, sports commentator who's worked in print, radio, television for decades. He's worked as a commentator with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN2's show First Take. This is before he debuted his own show with Shannon Sharpe called Skip and Shannon Undisputed. This was on Fox Sports 1 in 2016. And that, by the way, is where he worked with Nushin Faraji, who was part of the styling team for the network. And by the way, in 2021, the New York Post reported that Bayless had signed a $32 million contract with Fox. It's important when we talk about his wealth a little bit later. All right, now before we go any further, I have to talk to you guys about something. This is huge for me. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this, but there is a grooming line.
What's up, y'all? This your boy Mazza Capone with the Doodle Bayou channel. Guys, I'm not surprised that Joy Taylor has got herself in this scandal. She's involved in this scandal. I'm really not surprised. I'm not shocked because based off how she carries herself on her social media and her Instagram and how she carries herself on that podcast she got with Taylor Rooks, it doesn't surprise me. And based off the shit that she be talking about, because see, Joy Taylor is a feminist. She got by in life with her good looks, with her pretty privilege. Now she'll come out and tell you, and she worked real hard and yada yada yada. She had to work hard to get what she. Trust me, she didn't. She's a bust down, and trust me, throughout this video, you're gonna find out that she ain't do a damn thing. She's a DEI hire. She got by with her pretty privilege, and pretty much she's just a bust down.
A few years working closely with Bayless and Shannon. Now, she moved to another show called The Herd with Colin Cowherd on FS1 in 2018, and she's had many other hosting gigs since. Her Instagram is filled with not only reactions to some of the biggest sports news, but also glamour shots, videos where she gives advice about relationships or comments on current events. Now, Faraji says as Taylor continued to move from show to show, she had requested Faraji to continue to be her stylist. Now, the lawsuit notes that there are two other people here. There's Mark Silverman, president and COO of Fox Sports, and Eric Shanks, CEO and executive producer of Fox Sports. They could become named as defendants. They're not currently named, but they could be named as defendants as the case progresses and there's discovery in this lawsuit. Because the complaint reads, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks approved, were made privy to, or should have been privy to, all significant employment decisions and personnel-related investigations related to misconduct and or harassment by Fox Sports executives and talent. Further, on information and belief, Mr. Silverman and Mr. Shanks, along with Fox legal team, worked hard to protect perpetrators by forcing individuals who were witnesses to or targets of misconduct and or harassment to sign non-disclosure agreements upon separation from employment. So, on January 3rd, Faraji filed this complaint, laying out what she says.
God damn, shit! Everybody over there, even from the top to the bottom, everybody over there, just a bunch of everybody over there is just crooked as a barrel of snakes. Even the people at the top. You would think that those guys would have been on top of that shit, but you know what I'm saying? They just as crooked.
It happened to her during her time at Fox Sports. And according to Faraji, she had worked part-time for Fox starting in 2012 and then went full-time in 2016. During that time, she says she befriended Joy Taylor, and this was after Taylor had moved from Miami to Los Angeles for the chance to host on Fox Sports. According to Faraji, Taylor didn't have a regular position at the time, but was available to fill in when needed. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Faraji claims that when she would go out to meet Taylor for dinner or drinks, Charlie Dixon, again, the vice president for content, was always around. And Faraji says that she didn't even know he was an executive with the company until later when she mentioned to Taylor that she'd seen that guy who always buys us drinks in the elevator. And that is when she said that Taylor shushed her explained what Dixon's position was in the company. And Faraji believed, based on her interactions with these two people, that they were sleeping together. And when she warned Taylor that that might not be a great idea, that a relationship like that could be dangerous, Taylor allegedly told her not to worry about it. And by the way, apparently both Dixon and Taylor were married.
It's like I said, yo. She got by doing her. She got by with her pretty privilege, and she was a bust down. You know, this guy Charlie Dixon. This guy, he has money and power. He has a high position, but this is a guy who lead it with his wallet. Because Joy Taylor don't give a damn about this dude. She was just going to use him, and then she was just going to dispose of him when she didn't really need him no more. And see, this is why many companies, many men in companies, within companies that are leaders, they're really hesitant in giving women power because shit like this happens. Because in many cases, when women tend to get power, they abuse their power. Joy Taylor, I'm pretty sure she would have abused her power if she would have got more power. And this guy, Charlie Dixon, like I said, this guy was leading with his wallet. Joy Taylor don't give a damn about him. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy, this is one of those guys, he can't get women without having power and money. He can't get women based off the strength that he's him. He can't do it. He needs his position and he needs money to have leverage.
Married at the time. So according to the complaint, in approximately July of 2016, word spread amongst Fox employees about a new show that was going to be a big deal, as it would star Mr. Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. It was known that Fox was looking for a woman with significant TV experience to also star. Therefore, it came as a surprise when Fox announced that Miss Taylor, who is a bartender and radio host in Miami with very little TV experience, would be the moderator of the new show, a sports debate program, Skip and Shannon Undisputed. So Faraji claims that Bayless didn't want Taylor to host the show. In fact, in the lawsuit, she claims that at a dinner between Taylor and Bayless, Taylor shows up, she's dressed, and starts acting very provocatively, potentially in a way to change his opinion about her being on the show.
Once again, guys, it doesn't shock me because based off how she carries herself on her social media and how she carries herself on her podcast, and besides the fact she's a feminist, it don't shock me. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
But eventually, Bayless agreed to approve her on the show as a favor to Dixon. Okay.
Skip should have stuck with his guns because see, now look what happened. Now he's in a whirlwind of shit. I mean, SIMP Bayless, he should have stuck to his guns because now look what happened. He should have stuck to it.
When the show premiered in 2016, Taylor, according to Ms. Faraji, had requested that Faraji be her hairstylist, and eventually Bayless had asked her to do his hair as well. Not long after, in January of 2017, Faraji claims that she had attended a birthday party for Taylor. When she goes to this birthday party, she says that Dixon was there, and he was drinking quite heavily. The complaint reads, as Ms. Faraji was standing near the bar facing the crowd, Mr. Dixon approached her. He asked the bartender for a drink and then placed his arm on Ms. Faraji's lower back. He asked how she was doing, if she was having fun, and if she wanted a tequila shot. Ms. Faraji felt very uncomfortable by his unsolicited touching and responded, no thank you. Mr. Dixon then moved his hand lower and started rubbing her body and grabbing her buttocks. Ms. Faraji was mortified, but quickly thought to fake an incoming call to escape from the situation.
You see, this guy thought that because he had money and power, he can get any girl he wants. Let this be a lesson to you guys out there. Money isn't everything. Just because you have money and power, I mean, that doesn't, I mean, you can get women, I mean, but he basically was giving this woman creepy vibes. All that money and power, and it still didn't work for him. Like I said, guys, money is not everything. That doesn't mean you're going to get women all the time. I mean, because guys, men who are rich, they still get cheated on. Seriously, they get cheated on by the pool boy and the lawn man. This happens all the time. So let this shit be a lesson to you guys.
The complaint goes on to say Miss Faraji did not know who to turn to, but as she knew Miss Taylor was sleeping with Mr. Dixon, she turned to her. Surprisingly, Miss Taylor responded to get over it and explained that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon and that Miss Faraji only had her job because Miss Taylor requested her. She warned that Mr. Dixon could take both away. The complaint goes on, Miss Faraji was terrified and then turned to her co-worker Anonymous to discuss the situation. Anonymous responded that Mr. Dixon was disgusting, that the entire situation was sick, that it wasn't shocking given Fox's culture, and that Miss Faraji should remain quiet if she wanted to keep her job.
That has to be a very stressful thing, that being that you're put in that position, because you're having a problem. Some guys harassing you allegedly, and you really don't have nobody to turn to. You have nobody to talk to, and the person you think that you can talk to is telling you to get over it because they're just looking out for themselves. That has to be. I mean, the amount of stress that woman had probably was under is unimaginable.
As a single mother who needed the job to support her son, Miss Faraji had no choice but to remain silent. So, by the way, that is one of the reasons why you might be saying, well, if all this happened, why didn't she file a lawsuit sooner? And we'll get into more of the allegations. But this is a reason. She needed the job. That's something that I will think will come up in a potential lawsuit, a potential trial, if she's being grilled under cross-examination. Okay, moving forward. Later on in the complaint, Faraji claims that Taylor continued to use her sexuality to advance at the Fox company. And she did that by allegedly sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, a former football player turned commentator. So the lawsuit reads, quote,
Yeah, that old simp, Emmanuel Acho. I don't really like that dude. He's a non-FBA teller. This is one of those guys, right? That he's Nigerian. So this is one of those guys that like to hate on Black Americans while benefiting off what we built. Not only that, he likes to he's a simp. He's one of those male cheerleaders for women. He's all for feminism and shit with his pom poms. So like I have no respect for that guy. He has no backbone, and he's just a weak man to me.
In approximately February 2020, Miss Taylor asked Miss Faraji to meet her for lunch in Beverly Hills. When Miss Faraji arrived, she found Miss Taylor with a man, Emmanuel Acho. Miss Faraji didn't know Mr. Acho, but could tell that the two were romantically involved. A few months after meeting Mr. Acho at the lunch, Miss Faraji noticed him in the hallway while at work. Miss Faraji later asked Miss Taylor if Mr. Acho also worked at Fox. Ms. Taylor confirmed and explained that she wanted Mr. Acho to eventually recommend her on the show, Speak for Yourself. Ms. Faraji became alarmed and warned Ms. Taylor that she should probably not sleep with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Acho at the same time, as Mr. Dixon is a very powerful man that may become very angry. Ms. Taylor told her not to worry about it. She explained that she was also now powerful, and once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced himself on her. She would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women.
Once again, guys, like I just said, she didn't give a damn about that guy. She was planning on turning on him anyway when she got more power. I just told y'all that. And guys, let this be a lesson to you. And I tell you guys all the time, I'm not with the believe all women shit. This woman pretty much just admitted that she was going to turn on this dude and make up a false claim. This happens all the time. But you see, none of this shit would have happened if these guys would have had dick discipline. These guys are, to be in Charlie Dixon's position, I'm pretty sure you have to be a pretty smart dude, a pretty smart and competent guy. Even Emmanuel Ocho and Skip Bayless. You know what I'm saying? You have to be pretty competent and smart to be in their position. You can't be no idiot and and climb the ranks like they've done. But and I'm just not. It just baffles me how reckless these dudes are as far as making decisions like this. This is very reckless. This is shit that broke guys do. You wouldn't think that guys in their position will be making reckless decisions like this. And all this shit happened because they don't have dick discipline.
Women talent. Wow. Okay, now back to Faraji's claims of sexual battery. So Faraji says in addition to doing hair for the talent, she was also required to give haircuts to Bayless once a week. And she says that's when he started finding excuses to touch her, including giving her these lingering hugs and kisses on her cheek, where he would also press against her breasts. In approximately summer of 2017, while Miss Faraji was giving Mr. Bayless a haircut, he told her that she was voluptuous. As English is her second language and she was not familiar with the word, Miss Faraji asked what that meant. Mr. Bayless seemed amused and told her to, quote, figure it out. Miss Faraji later asked a coworker what the word meant and was mortified. Mr. Bayless then started being more aggressive and direct in his advances. Miss Faraji continuously declined, stating that she did not date at work as she is a single mom and needed her job. And Faraji also made further stunning allegations against Bayless, including that he offered her money for sex. You remember when I talked about his wealth? Well, the complaint reads, quote, in July of 2021, Miss Faraji developed issues with her left ovary and was advised it could be cancer. With a fourth biopsy scheduled, she explained her situation to Mr. Bayless, hoping that he would take pity on her and cease his advances. Instead, Mr. Bayless told her that he wanted to be with her. Miss Faraji panicked and began rambling that there were cameras everywhere, that she has a child, that she does not want him. Mr. Bayless then grabbed her hands, began kissing them, and offered her $1.5 million to have sex.
What did I tell you? Your boy Simp Bayless offered this woman $1.5 million to have sex with him. A single mother. Simp Bayless. Guys, if that doesn't reek of being desperate, I don't know what does. I mean, she pretty much was turned off because he was thirsty. He was thirsting over this chick. A single mother. I mean, Skip Bayless is rich. I mean, I can imagine. I would imagine that he can go out there and get a 21-year-old with no kids. Easy. What do you need her for? Some older, over the hill single mother. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, Simp Bayless tripping.
Faraji made an excuse to leave. The complaint goes on. Approximately 1 week later, Mr. Bayless made another advance at Miss Faraji. Miss Faraji responded, Skip, stop, you have a wife. Mr. Bayless responded, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 to 4 wives? Miss Faraji responded that her father was dead, and when Mr. Bayless looked taken aback, she made an excuse to leave. Now, at one point during her tenure at Fox Sports, Bayless reportedly started to think that Faraji was in a sexual relationship with his co-host Shannon Sharpe. This is a big point in the complaint. And he allegedly confronted Faraji about it. And Faraji denied having any sort of relationship with Shannon Sharpe, saying that she was just nice to all the talent, then he was just misunderstanding the situation. And Faraji says that she even used a recording device to capture one of the conversations with Skip Bayless. Quote, Mr. Bayless then arrived in the makeup room for Miss Faraji to cut his hair in accordance with his regular schedule. Mr. Bayless knew that the makeup room was always recorded and clearly states, this room is bugged. During their conversation, Mr. Bayless stated that he would hate for her to lose her job, but she can't be doing a big thing with my arch rival. She responded by reiterating that being polite to Mr. Sharpe is part of her job. Mr. Bayless responded, BS, 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 I'm calling BS on you. Mr. Bayless then warned
Skip Bayless had a case of blue pill rage. You know, so being that he's a simp, I can that's not really far-fetched. You know, the thing of it is his ego was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because Shannon Sharp is his arch rival, and not all that. It's probably like a little hint of racism in there too. Damn, you want this black dude instead of me? How dare you? That's pretty much what it is, y'all. It's probably like a small hint of racism in there. I could be wrong, but Shannon Sharp is his rival, his enemy, and ain't no love lost there. So that's pretty much how he felt. Damn, you choosing this black dude over me? How dare you?
Her that he doesn't want her to lose her job over this. Ms. Faraji responded that she wasn't going to lose her job because she's a great hairdresser. Mr. Bayless responded, I have love for you and I have for 6 years and you hurt me and you are ruining this. Ms. Faraji again responded that she must be polite to all talent. Mr. Bayless then implied that if he stopped requesting her, it would affect her job. Later on, the complaint reads, on December 21st, 2023, Mr. Bayless told Ms. Faraji that he
Now he trying to give like little low key threats, y'all. It's because he butt hurt that he feels like she's sleeping with somebody else. Now he trying to get like low key threats.
still loved her and confided that Mr. Dixon was the one who had told him that Ms. Faraji was sleeping with Mr. Sharp. Mr. Bayless then again tried to have sex with Ms. Faraji. Ms. Faraji's diary entry for that day states, I said, Skip, I'm only interested in working with you and having friendship relationship with you and nothing else. He said, you have no idea you were losing everything. I don't know what he means by that, and I hope he doesn't take me off the show. It makes me sick to my stomach, and it's really hard for me to work like this. I hope God help me because Fox is supporting people like Charlie and Skip.
I know that I know all of this is alleged, but like I said before, can you imagine the stress level of this woman? Because like I said earlier, she has nobody to turn to, and the one person who she thought she could turn to, she's in on it, and she's telling her to get over it. I mean, it's crazy, like the stress levels this woman has to be going through because she has nobody to turn to. And she can't go to the top because they probably in on it too.
Now, a little side note here. If there is a recording, that is very important evidence for Faraji, on top of what she seems to suggest are text messages between her and Bayless. For example, in the complaint, it reads, on April 14th, 2022, Mr. Bayless texted Ms. Faraji, if you're distracted tomorrow.
Guys, once again, being that Simp Bayless is in the position that he's in. He didn't get there because he was an idiot, and I can't understand why. He should have been smarter than this. Seriously, he should have been smarter than this. This is reckless. All this shit wouldn't have happened if they would have had dick discipline, like I told you earlier. Now she got text messages and she said she got a recording. This is pretty much a game changer.
I'll wait till Monday, but I can't keep doing this. Ms. Faraji told him that she was very confused. Mr. Bayless responded, trust me, I'm far more confused. And Ms. Faraji then explained over text that she is not sleeping with Mr. Sharp. Mr. Bayless did not respond. Now, there could be a way for Skip Bayless to explain that, right? He could say perhaps this was about her work performance, that this is something along the lines of this is if she's sleeping with Shannon Sharp, then this is going to be problematic for her. It's going to be problematic for the show. There might be a way for him to argue against that, right? Perhaps this was something else. And I should also say that a lot of these alleged conversations, these interactions that center around sex between Faraji and Bayless, they seem to be in person. So this is a he said, she said situation. But if you have text messages, if you have a recording, that changes the game. Now, going back to Shannon Sharp for a minute, he gave a brief response to the allegations Sunday night on his YouTube show called Nightcap, basically saying,
guys, it's pretty much over for Joe Taylor and Skip Bayless, or Simp Bayless, and that dude Charlie Dixon, in whom nobody gives a damn about. But Like I said earlier, it's not far fetched that Joy Taylor is in this scandal. I mean, based off how she carries herself on her social media, and on top of that, she's a feminist. I'm not shocked. And this is the same woman that was on I Am Athlete, right? Talking about how hard she had to work to get it to make it to the top and shit like that. She ain't worked hard shit. She was a bust down, and she got by doing with her pretty privilege. She was basically a DEI hire. Go look at it, y'all. Now she on I Am Athlete talking about how hard she had to work. Bitch, get the fuck out of here. You had it easy. They really didn't want you in the first place. And Simp Bayless, he should have stuck to his guns, because this shit wouldn't be happening if he would have stuck to his guns. Oh my God. This is a mess, y'all. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, man. Like and subscribe. This your boy MAZ, Mazel Capone. This the Do the Better You channel. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.